What's up, guys? So, today we're going to do an infield breakdown of one of the most popular dating coaches on YouTube. He has over 1 million subscribers. His name is Tripp Advice. And personally, I don't believe that you should really trust anyone who claims to be an expert in something but doesn't show their expertise, doesn't prove that they get the results that they are supposed to help you get. So with the dating coach, if they don't have pictures with attractive women, infield footage of themselves approaching and having success, then why would you trust them, right? It's akin to if you were to look into a personal trainer and you found this guy who does videos, but he doesn't show his body and you're just trusting his advice. That's obviously dumb, right? But when it comes to dating, it's not so obvious. It's a lot more subtle. It's a lot easier to, there's not a clear way to determine who's legit and who's not. And a lot of the best marketers, they have no results. They get no results. They haven't gotten laid in years. Some of them are practically incels, and yet they are dating coaches. So Tripp Advice has always been kind of in that category to me because he doesn't show infield. However, recently, he has posted an infield that I have managed to find. It took some effort. It wasn't out there. He didn't make it easy to find this clip. And I want to take a look at it. I want to see if this is one of those generic bullshit dating coaches who has mastered the art of internet marketing, but has no skill set themselves whatsoever, or if maybe turns out I'm wrong and he's actually pretty good. So with that said, let's check out the footage.
Is going to make this woman or any woman that you might talk to super happy and excited that you went over and talked to her. So I want that to give you some motivation as a way to understand that women still do want to be talked to, and it's not just about meeting women online, but in person as well. All right, so let's go ahead and start this off.
Hi. 2 seconds, I just wanted to say hi.
Hello.
Where are you from?
Originally?
Sure.
Originally from Missouri.
From Missouri?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're like one of those real nice folk, aren't you?
I'm so nice.
See that's a good little tease there. I think about Missouri. The first thing that clicked in my head was, okay, Midwestern nice girl. Had to say it to kind of just give that little tease.
You're the nicest person in the world.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
What about you?
I'm from Chicago, actually.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah.
I get the whole Midwest thing. We're nice people. I mean, I don't think I'm that nice, but nice enough.
Nice enough.
See there, I just wanted to disqualify myself a little bit, so I didn't want to actually, I'm like almost trying not to come off as a nice guy, almost trying to be like a little bit arrogant, like a little cocky there.
So I think his phrasing there reveals a lot. He's trying to disqualify, trying not to be a nice guy. So it does come across as a little bit mechanical, a little bit button pushy, a little robotic. The way that he said that, it didn't seem particularly genuine. It's not terrible, but it just seemed a little bit forced, right? He's trying to seem like a guy who is a certain way, right? He's trying to seem alpha or whatever, but not being that person. Now, other than that, though, what he's saying, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. There's nothing horrible about it. It's okay. It's good enough. It's normal enough. You don't need to be perfect. And so I don't want to overly critique something that's just average and fine, because average and fine a lot of the times is enough. And you don't want to have this standard in your mind that you have to be like James Bond, or you have to have the wit of Russell Brand or something like that to have success. You don't. Now, obviously, if you're a coach, generally you should have better verbal game and better nonverbal game than the average person. And so far, this isn't amazing, but he's not doing anything terrible. He's not doing anything that's like actively bad. It's a little cheesy. It's a little forced, but it's okay.
And that just makes it so I'm not just only focused on being like, yeah, I'm so nice. Like I'm trying to convince her that I'm this nice person.
You know.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I have a lot of friends from Chicago.
What's that?
I have a lot of friends from Chicago.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What part?
So you can see I tried to continue the open to close sequence, but she interrupted it, so I just went with her.
Well, different parts. I don't remember all the different. They're all like kind of suburbs of it, so I don't remember the names of them.
Not even one?
I don't remember. I think for some reason, like LaGrange is coming to mind.
You got one.
Okay.
I know LaGrange.
Okay. That's
It's like
the only one
west-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only one I can remember.
Okay. Nice. So what do you do not hear?
I do a lot of different things.
Just tell me the one that you're
Most excited about?
yes.
The reason why I said that is because I don't want to sit here getting a laundry list of things that she does. I want to make the conversation a little bit more emotional. So it's like, yeah, tell me the thing that you really like doing.
Look at you. You're already finishing my. There you go.
You have to wait for that one.
Just being playful. Everything's playful, fun.
We got there.
got
We
there.
made it happen.
Have you ever heard of something called human design?
Hubel design?
Human design.
Human design. Yeah, why does that sound familiar?
I don't know. It's kind of an energy thing. It's,
That sounds very familiar. Okay.
yeah, it's like a mix of astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the chakra system.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like all of that in one.
Okay.
And I read people's charts and I like work with them to like go play with it in the world and see if the tools it gives them actually helps them or not.
So you're a super spiritual
I am
guiding
spiritual.
light for people.
Yeah. I guess you could put it that way.
All right, so guess what sign I am.
Oh, I have no idea.
See, this is where I always come back to this idea of chick crack, topics of conversation that women love. And women love conversation around astrology and signs and spirituality. And so I just wanted to take advantage of the fact that this woman here does enjoy that. So, okay, let's be playful. You know, let's play guessing games. What do you think I am? Having her guess about me.
You can't even guess?
I don't know anything about you.
Well, what would you guess off of the minute I've been here?
I don't know, but based on the numbers of person.
Okay, so couple things. The whole finishing my sentences, it was a little cheesy again, but she went along with it, right? It got her to invest. She laughed, so a little cheesy, but it didn't go horribly wrong, so it was okay. And then this last part, going into talking about chakras and stuff like that, women love that. She kind of volunteered it. He didn't really have to steer it that way, but that's a good topic to delve into further. And the way he asked, what was it he said? He said, what would you guess my sign is? That was a good question because it puts a little bit of pressure on her, not too much, puts a little bit of pressure on her. And it is kind of a way of challenging her a little bit, but without being a douchebag or a dick, and getting her to invest.
Percentages of people, I would guess you're a generator, which means that's like most people are generators. It's just like a life force.
Okay.
Very.
All right.
I don't know. I just have to know more about you.
Ask me a question.
Okay. Let's see.
Ask me a question where when I give you the answer, it will give you the information that you need.
What do you do?
I work in marketing.
Okay.
Glad to hear it.
Do you like it?
Love it.
Okay.
Passionate about it.
I'm gonna go with generator.
Okay.
Or you could be a manifesting generator, which is like uber capable people.
Okay, this stuff sounds so stupid to me on her part, not on his part, actually. But, and this is a mistake a lot of guys make, is whenever a woman cares about something, they think that to be alpha, to have a strong frame, to be dominant, they need to like diss that thing or disagree. You don't want to disagree the concept as a whole. You don't want to diss the idea or make fun or tease spirituality in general or her political beliefs or her job, right? I heard in my free mastermind group the other day, this guy made fun of a girl for being a nurse, right? He made some comment about, oh, so I guess you like seeing old men naked, something like that. And I get the principle. He's thinking, oh, I want to be not too agreeable. I want to tease her. Not about those kinds of things. So what Tripp is doing, he probably thinks the same shit I do, that this sounds like woo-woo garbage, made up, pseudoscience, whatever. But you don't want to just like shit on someone for something they're passionate about, and you want to try to understand it, right? Because I'm more of a scientifically minded kind of person, but I still try to be open to spirituality and all that kind of stuff, and try to come at it with a mindset of what is it that is appealing to this? Why is it interesting? Maybe there's some degree of truth to it that I don't understand. You want to have that perspective so that you can have a conversation about something that she finds fascinating without it being confrontational and without it seeming like you just have no shared interest in this thing that is extremely important to her. And Tripp here is doing also a good job at getting her to invest more in this topic, to invest more in the interaction, and to have it not like he's picking her up, but a little bit more like she's picking him up. So even though the beginning of this interaction, I didn't think it was amazing, it's actually pretty solid at this point.
This is sounding really familiar now. So what are the other ones?
There's projector, reflector, and a manifestor, and then there's generators or a manifesting generator.
Yeah, okay. I think I heard of something similar to this.
Really?
Well, actually, no. I know what I'm thinking now. I've heard of archetypes. So there's female and male archetypes. And it's not exactly what you're saying, but there's a couple that are similar to that. Like someone who's a generator or someone, yeah, I forgot exactly what it was, but
Cool.
interesting. Okay, cool. So that's what you love to do.
That's like my heart and soul is in that. 'Cause
Okay.
I think he's talking about Jungian archetypes. So like king, warrior, magician, lover. That stuff is interesting, pseudoscientific, but knowing about it certainly is a good conversation topic with women.
Yeah, human design.
How does that help people?
So
like
just
when
connecting here,
when
general
work with
connecting.
you, what does that end up doing for them?
It's a lot. It's kind of like holding a mirror.
That's actually a great question. The way he phrased that was really good. What does it end up doing for them? So one of the most common mistakes, and so far he's kind of winning me over based on this interaction a little bit, but what most guys do is ask very logical questions, and they phrase it in a way where there's not really meaning or emotion behind it. And that gets boring, and that's what an interview interaction means, right? And that's something you want to avoid. If it feels like an interview, it's probably not going to lead towards sex. But what he's doing here is he's asking questions, but this question has an emotional connotation and a meaning connotation, right? It's something meaningful. It's something that she really values and is really going to like feel something when she talks about it, about how she's affecting people. What's the outcome of her work, her spiritual work? So that was a great question.
Up to somebody, just being like, so most of us, okay, well,
As you
like
can
Carl
see, my
Jung
body language is
has,
getting
I
a
think, that
little
quote
bit
about-
more
Jung.
comfortable. I'm
has that
leaning in a
quote
little
about
bit.
Self-hatred being kind of our worst.
And this kind of reminds me, there's a really powerful quote. I learned about it from the book, The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. But he talks about this, I'm trying to think of her name, but there was a woman who had a dinner with two politicians in the UK. And they were two people who were running for prime minister, I believe. One was William Gladstone and the other was Benjamin Disraeli. And what she said is that when I met William Gladstone, I thought he was the most interesting man in England. But when I met Benjamin Disraeli, I felt like I was the most interesting woman in England. And obviously that second one was more powerful, right? That was the one that impacted her more. Being charismatic is great. I'm not saying you shouldn't be charismatic and engaging and interesting. But when you can make someone feel interesting, that can actually be just as powerful, or in some cases even more powerful. And he's doing a good job of that here.
Disease in humanity.
Okay.
Most people aren't very friendly to themselves or don't really like themselves. So kind of when it's telling them about themselves, but it's reframing a lot of it to see like, you're trying to change all these things about yourself. What if you just like embrace it and merge with it in this way to make it your life just feel more effortless or flow a little bit better?
Do you take your own advice?
Most of the time.
Most of the
I'm not
time.
perfect.
I mean, no one's
I've
perfect.
done a lot of work on it though in the past 2 years.
Yeah, I like that question because it stopped it from being mm, too overly like patting each other on the back kind of energy, too lacking any tension, right? It added a little bit of tension without being rude or going too far, but it added a little bit of a challenge. So that was good. Um, Hard to quantify. It depends on what you categorize as a pickup coach. So if you consider red pill coaches and like generic dating coaches, ones who don't have infield and just talk about dating advice or whatever, it's pretty low. If you're only talking about people who you would consider like pickup artists, pickup coaches, whatever, then it's, I don't know, probably something like 20%. It's a little higher.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. I wonder if you've had traumatic experiences in the past that have led you to where you are now, and you have mostly overcome some of the consequences of those traumatic experiences.
Okay, that's what I would call a cold read. Okay, so cold read is mainly saying something to someone where it's going to be true for most people. Now, I don't think that what I said there is true for most people, but just by getting to know her, it feels like she's into this spiritual kind of personal development world. So I could guess that she had traumatic experiences, with which most of us do, and that she overcame them. So it's almost as if I knew that. Also,
So that's a good cold read, and that's a narrative that anyone's going to want to agree with. And, it's an empowering kind of thing to think about. However, it is also very risky to even bring up the idea of trauma, traumatic experiences. That's not a route you want to go down. So he's kind of risking that, but we'll see where it goes.
I look a little scary in this little pause right here, but I'm giving her really good eye contact. This is part of tension. So I'm making sure that she feels like me and her, or her and I should say, are the only people in this whole coffee shop here. And that forms a really deep connection.
How close am I to that?
Of course. Yeah.
Then again, that's probably everybody.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Exactly.
That's like a cold read.
Or at
Like
least
you
you
can
would hope
look at that.
so. You would hope
that
so.
they've overcome it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's funny that I even just told her that.
Not everyone overcomes it.
He kind of took the wind out of his own sails by saying that's probably everybody, which you're not unique. And it takes away the power of what he said before.
I mean, I'm not a pessimist,
Yeah.
but I'm also a realist.
Yeah.
Probably most people have not overcome their traumatic experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you into
But
Joe
they
Dispenza
should.
at all?
Who?
Are you into Joe Dispenza's stuff at all?
No, that name sounds familiar. Who's that?
By the way, that's not a technique or anything. When I'm saying these things sound familiar, I'm being truly honest. So that's not something I would say that you should do. Like all these things she's saying did sound familiar. If they didn't, I would just be like, no, I never heard about that before. Tell me.
I believe he's a medical doctor who talks about basically kind of manifestation and visualization techniques for healing your subconscious and getting the results you want in life and all that kind of stuff. I guess I'm a lot more into this woo-woo kind of content than I thought.
I don't even know what to call him. I don't know what he would call himself.
I thought you were going to say like Alan Watts.
No.
You know Alan Watts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
No, it's different. He talks kind of. So the reason it made me think of Joe Dispenza is he
Yeah.
talks a lot about this idea of our feelings or emotions. It's kind of like you feel something, and if you don't. Okay, so he uses the example of working. So say your coworkers.
I also want to point out that his eye contact is definitely strong, right? He's not super wavering. He's not like looking around, looking tense. And overall, his body language is pretty comfortable, right? He seems relatively at ease with the fact that he's approaching this girl, interacting with her, which is something you'll see in a lot of infield. It seems like the guy is like almost never approached women in his life, and he's like really stiff and uncomfortable. And part of that is being filmed adds more pressure, but he's dealing with that pressure pretty well.
Go against you, and then they like kind of rat you out.
I'm
for
just
something,
locked
and then
in
you
right
get
now.
fired, and then you're bitter
Locked
about
in with her
that,
eye
and you have
contact.
resentment about that. So it's either you kind of work through that, and then it turns out to be like the best thing ever that happened in your life, or you stay resentful, you stay bitter, and then that grows into being your temperament, and then that grows into being your personality, and then somebody asks you 20 years later, why are you so bitter, why are you so resentful, and you're like, I'm just this way, like that's just who I am, and you take it on almost as like an identity.
So basically, what you're saying is all the experiences we have in our life can attach to you and make you who you are today. And we're just a sum of most of our experiences, whether they're
Or a perception of them.
or a perception of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of missed the entire point of what she was saying. So recapping it is fine, showing that he was paying attention or whatever. But he basically is saying, oh, so you're just a product of your experiences. The whole point of what she was saying is that based on how you interpret your experiences, they can either be something that empowers you or they can be something that makes you bitter and negative, which is a very positive message. She has a good mindset, but he kind of missed the point there.
Definitely our perception of them.
What is, I'm curious, something that you've overcome recently where you're like, man, I did a fucking good job there. like this is one of those moments where all the work I've done paid off because like I just killed it.
Wow.
And no more fun to then also tell that to a complete stranger.
There's one that comes to mind, but that might be too much to go into.
Too deep? Try me.
Okay.
I can handle anything.
See, I want to break that barrier. I want to go deep with her. I want to connect with her deeper. I want to break from, okay, we're just two strangers talking to, we're becoming actual people who are connected to each other.
Okay, so basically, I think like mommy issues is the way I would describe it. It's,
Okay.
So before I was born, this is something I've realized in my life. Everything comes back to this one instance in my life. Before I was born, my mom had a child that died after being born for 3 days. So it was 3 days old, died of a heart problem.
Before you.
Yeah, and I don't think she ever got over that. So she's like, and we, like, my mom and I are fairly close in a sense. So we've talked about it at length, but she told me like she was still grieving even when I was around, when I was born. Like, and I think the way I received it as a child was like a withholding of love, but it was more so from the work I've done on it. I've realized it's more so like if something happened to me, she like would not come back from.
All right, so one thing I want to point out, he's holding strong eye contact. He seems comfortable enough, but he is kind of very flat in his facial expressions while he's listening, and it seems a little too intense. Like, right, he's not like acknowledging what she's saying, either verbally or non-verbally, and just it's a little much.
Not because she was still so hurt from the loss before that she couldn't give herself in that way because it was just like being emotionally unavailable for me. So I've done a lot of getting over that and giving it to myself essentially.
Got it.
Yeah.
Damn, you've really done the work. Honestly, I thought you might have said something even more, not to underplay what you went through.
Yeah, but like, I wasn't necessarily part of that experience, so you know what I mean? Like,
right,
it was
but
more like
but it still affected you.
Normally, you can't go this deep, even sometimes on a first date, but I just felt it out. I was understanding, okay, she's starting to feel like she's trusting me because she was starting to open up on this small level. And then I had the courage to just kind of dig a little deeper. She was accepting and saying yes, in a sense, to all the digging deeper of getting to know her. So I just kept going, and it started to work in my benefit here.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. How about you?
So, well,
Okay.
on a lighter note, what do you like to do for fun when you're not doing your spiritual
Okay, so
stuff?
now I'm continuing with the open to close sequence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like going to farmers markets. I like exploring galleries, just walking around, finding things to do. I really like
Maybe this
juice,
is a
so I
stretch,
love
but
going to juice
I
places.
feel like her
really
body
like
language
juice.
is inching closer to me.
You're a total juice and spiritual nerd.
I fucking am. I know.
There's my tease.
You love the green juice. It better be organic, cold pressed.
Ideally.
Nice. So
Yeah.
why did you end up coming all the way to New York?
So
Out of
I
all
guess that would have
places.
been
Just
from
wanted
the
to
second thing
connect
that I
a
moved
little
up
bit more
was,
with them.
I was working in LA originally, and I just like hated.
I used to live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For how long?
9 years.
Wow.
I loved it,
Yeah.
and then I quickly got over it. I guess it wasn't quick, it was 9 years, but it was kind of like out of nowhere. I was like, I'm done here.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here. I was just over it, you know? Probably from a breakup.
Okay. Yeah.
Breakups tend to have you move cities because it's like a traumatic experience
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. How long was the relationship?
There's a few relationships.
Oh, okay.
One was like 4 years, another one was a year. And then I said, you know what? Time to move.
Something new.
Time to do something new. And I have the luxury of being able to work from wherever. So I moved out quick.
Beautiful.
And the thing is, I still love LA. It's so fun to visit. There's so much fun stuff going on there. I just know I'll never live there again.
Yeah.
You know?
I got you. How long have you been in New York for?
Just like a couple days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you like visiting or do you live here?
I'm planning to move here very soon.
Not a true statement. I was just doing this because I knew I was recording and I wanted to make it as realistic as possible that this would end up in getting a number and a date. So it was more of a test to see if this was going to go through for the whole thing. Because if I said, no, I don't live here, then it wouldn't have been a natural approach, so to speak, that you'll be doing when you're going out approaching women in the cities that you live.
The details are still being worked out. So we'll see. And we should hang out
I would love to.
when I come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come back.
Here, I'll get my phone. Why don't you, what's your name?
What's your name?
I'm Tripp.
Tripp?
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
So you're living in Chicago right now?
Yeah, currently. There you go. What area do you live in here?
East Village right now.
East Village. Okay. When I picture the map in my head, I think I know where that is.
It's over that way.
That doesn't do anything for me. But it's going to be east of Soho,
Yeah.
on the same plane, kind of.
Sort of, yeah.
Ish.
It's closest
Maybe not
to
directly.
like Tompkins Square Park. So if you see that, it's close to that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll hit you up.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks
Nice
for
to meet
saying
you.
hi.
Of course.
Beautiful.
Take care.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for saying hi. So she was glad that I came over, and yeah, there you go. That is a good example of what it means to kind of build that deeper connection. Now, you might not.
All right. So overall, that was really solid. It was much better than I expected. So I will admit that my initial impression wasn't correct because I've seen he posted a few examples of his approaches and his body language and his vocal tonality, all that in those short clips was really bad, right? The only little pieces of infield tidbits that I've seen of him before were really bad. And this was actually quite solid. I think it's too bad. It's too bad that he doesn't post more infield because it'll get him more views. I mean, obviously he's better at marketing than I am. He's got 1 million subscribers. But I think a lot of the people who are skeptical of someone just talking about of him being a dating coach would kind of be swayed that he's actually pretty solid, that he actually knows what he's talking about. So that was cool. Well, I'm not going to review infield on YouTube from my private group without the guy's permission. No, I said it was good. There are things that could have been better. There always are, right? But it was solid. This one, yeah, I disagree with Julian on that one. Approach, sure. Approach, it depends on your environment. And it depends on your, like, if you have any approach anxiety and how bad that is, but definitely can be useful to approach women you're not attracted to for a number of different reasons. Not exclusively, not for too long, right? You don't want to spend your whole night just talking to women you're not attracted to, but as like a warm up, it can be useful as a way to be social, as a way to learn how to have fun without needing something like in terms of getting a result, getting laid. You're not trying to get laid. You're just talking to them to talk. for its own sake. So it's useful for that, but pulling women you're not attracted to seems kind of silly to me. Anyway, I'll have a link to Tripp Advice's channel below. And of course, if I'm going to be reviewing infield, critiquing infield, I better have my own. So I'll link somewhere in the video some of my own infield so you can see that I'm, legit myself and that I walk the walk. If you really want to see my best infield, where I show the kind of thing I can't show on YouTube, what I mean is like making out with girls, taking them home, like full pulls all the way from approaching to taking the girl home. I have over 5 hours of footage of that, breaking down exactly how I do it step by step so you can replicate the same results in your own life. You can click the link below to get a copy of my online course, God Mode, for access to that. Is there anything else I want to say? I am on a little bit too much caffeine. Probably more, probably closer to high energy, but it would be more, I'd prefer the word intensity, high intensity. But I'm not low energy, I would say for sure I'm not a low energy kind of guy in my interactions. So I might answer a question or two. We'll see. I've had 300 milligrams of caffeine without having eaten anything, so I'm kind of feeling wired. So I'm probably not going to do a super thank you, casual Zach. And that really is, I mean, bro, so many people are watching these videos and they just don't even go out. Like, why not? Why not try? Set a low standard for yourself that even with your current level of approach anxiety or lack of skill, lack of experience, that you can do knowing that, right? But you still have to push yourself. So for me, right now, my goal is to at least do a live stream every day, right? So I'm at least posting some kind of YouTube content every day. I'm not telling myself I need to do 8 hours. I'm not telling myself I need to do something insane. I'm just being consistent. And then I'll push it further and further over time. And similarly, if you have never approached women, you've never gone out, don't tell yourself you're going to do 10 approaches a day right away, but tell yourself you're going to go out for 30 minutes, even if it's to a mall, even if it's to, dive bars on a Monday. You're not even a big city. There's not going to be a lot of women to approach, just to at least get used to going out, to get comfortable in those environments and try to approach women if you see them. Try to talk to people, try to socialize, but just doing that and doing that consistently will start building the momentum and get you out of the analysis paralysis phase, which so many guys get stuck in for years, for literal years and years. And just start that now. Like, what are you waiting for? This can be your moment where you say, you know what, fuck it. I'll just start taking action. I don't know if I'm going to get amazing results, but make a commitment to do 30 minutes a day for a month, to keep going out at least 4 times a week until you do 100 approaches, something like that. Make a commitment, stick to it, and just have a little bit of patience with yourself and you'll start seeing results. I would consider intensity things like strong eye contact and an energy where the women just react to you. So creating tension non-verbally, and also with, the way you use your voice. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to do an infield review. I believe the next one is going to be Coach Kyle. I mean, maybe I'll even do another stream today, depending on how I'm feeling. But at the very least, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this infield breakdown. And if you want to get cold approach handled as quickly as possible, in-person coaching is the best way to do that. Because, I mean, you can go through my testimonials page. I have it linked below. I have, at this point, dozens of video testimonials, and it's in the 100 plus in terms of, written testimonials. showing guys losing their virginity, sleeping with models, having threesomes, building entire rotations. Like, you can see videos of people who had those kinds of results. And when you do a boot camp, no matter how much resistance you have to approaching, no matter how long you've been putting this off, no matter how many excuses you have in your mind, you'll get the leverage you need to break through, and you will make the amount of progress. If you're like most people and you've maybe been trying to approach here and there, and you've, dipped your feet in the water, but you're not getting results yet, this is what will allow you to break through that, because the average client, even if they've never approached in their life, will do 75 to 150 approaches during a boot camp. That's average. Sometimes maybe it's 60, but it's never zero. And it's never some small number like 10, even for people who have massive social anxiety and who've never approached in their life. And then beyond that, you're also going to learn how to move your interactions forward, to spark attraction, to get more results than you previously probably ever thought possible. And you're going to make a massive amount of progress in a very short amount of time. So click the link below to learn more about that.